Hey, good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody on today? Lovely Saturday, nice and sunny out here in Detroit anyway. So we got some baseball, we got college football. We're going to do the Mountain West and the Pac-10 and a little talk on the gold. First thing I want to do is, let's go through the results yesterday in baseball. Philadelphia over 9 was a push, 9. Houston, winner. Tampa Bay, winner. The Mets lost. The lock, the White Sox, W, they won. Boston over 9, won. Toronto over 8.5, won. And the Dodgers won. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, or 6, 1 and 1, I guess, if you count the Philly, if you got the 9 and a tie. So my friend asked, well, do you have any unders? And I basically had 1, 2, 3 overs, and all of them won. So I said, you don't just play an under. Even the Houston game, the Mets game was over. The Dodger game was over. You got to have the pitchers to go under. So you're betting the pitchers. So you always have to have the why. That's why I ask you. So I want to show a video real quick, and then we'll get on to the analysis. In this video, hold on. Here we go. Yeah. This is the best we're going to do. Okay, everybody, pay attention.
From their short position to the lowest level in the history of the Comets, it seems that they're also trying to take possession of metal and do it in a way that's somewhat a little bit more clandestine. If we look at the numbers out of SLV in terms of what they've delivered out of SLV, it's remarkable. 20 million ounces this week were delivered off of SLV, 60 million over the past month, and 100 million over the past 4 months.
All right, so what this guy's saying is the banks are taking money. Now, the SLV or GLD are ETFs, and they're really just paper. They're not really physical, and they tell you not to own them. And he says, well, what the banks are doing is they're pulling off the gold that's in there that you can't get to. And so the banks are pulling 100 million ounces out of it. Why are the banks doing it? Hey, Don, good morning. See, I kept you away from the unders. You would have lost, because I don't think any unders won except for the Miami one. Anyway, so that's what's happening. So what does that mean? Why are the banks taking 100 million ounces out of this GLD ETF crap that you can't get delivery on? In other words, they want physical gold. They don't want paper gold, because they realize paper gold, everybody who owns paper gold, who thinks it's a good thing, is going to get screwed, because they think they own gold. They don't. So they are taking delivery. So why would the banks take $100 million in delivery of gold coins? Because they know what's about to happen, which is what I've been telling you about for the last year. The price is going to go through the roof. They realize that. They realize they need physical, and they're getting in before the price goes up. So they can still get it at this $30, $35 an ounce thing, and that's what they're after. So that's the point of why the banks are buying it. But that means gold, silver are going to go through the roof, because why else are the banks buying the coins? They're not buying them to sell. Nobody buys gold at $30 an ounce to sell at $30 an ounce, or 25 or 30, 35 an ounce. You don't buy it to make $1. You buy it because the price is going to a couple thousand. That's the point. So I got very excited when I saw that video. It was a few days ago, and I sent it to some friends, and I said, here we go. Now, as the Joker would say, here we go. Here's the time. Gold will go through the roof because of this. This this is the signal, right? Here's this fake war with China. Now, you got to understand the U.S. is run by the Chinese government. So Pelosi going there was part of the plan, as the professor would say at Money Heist. It's all part of the plan. Everything that's happening now, the Russian war, this China, Taiwan, is all part of the plan. And it's a pretty sick plan. They're trying to kill people with the virus and the vaccines. Oh, we didn't kill them with the virus. Let's give them the vaccine. And you see a lot of people dying, and nobody can explain it. So anyway, you've got to be careful. It's a George Soros plan. You've got to be careful, and you've got to be smart, and you've got to understand it. So please think, why? Why did Pelosi go? And they made a big deal, and they told her not to go, and she went anyway. She went for 24 hours. She didn't do a damn thing that she couldn't have done on a Teams meeting or she could have done a YouTube video like I do and say, hey, Taiwan, I got your back, or a phone call or a video call. You didn't need to go there to physically go for less than a day to say, here I am. It's all part of the Chinese plan because they're the ones running us. So it's a very strange world we're living in, but you got to understand it. So the way we win is gold and silver because it's real. It's an asset. And if you don't like that, go buy Mickey Mantle cards, Tom Brady cards, Michael Jordan cards. They're also real assets, and you'll be fine with those. Anything that's a real asset, diamonds, jewelry, art's a little bit hard to get rid of, but if you own pearl, diamonds, you'll always be able to get rid of that because they're assets. And because the money is shrinking, it takes more money to buy it. So you think the price is going up. It's not. It's the dollar losing its value. That's why gold and silver is so much more than 1,800. It's not even close. And as I tell my friends, don't pay attention to COMEX. It's fantasy land. It's not the real price, but they use it so the banks can buy it cheap. That's the only purpose of COMEX, is so the Federal Reserves and the banks can buy gold and silver at these ridiculously low prices. And once everybody's bought, then you're going to watch the price go up, and all these people that aren't buying, all the 300 million U.S. citizens and British and Canadian who are too stupid to understand gold are going to get, I got dollars. Well, that's not worth anything. So keep that in mind. All right. So let's get to baseball. Huge day yesterday. And only the Mets, and it's funny, the Mets ace pitched it. Well, I don't know if he's ace. Guy has a 2-something ERA for 15 games, and he gives up 8 runs to Atlanta. And that's where you get into matchups, and you just say Atlanta knows how to hit them, and that's what you see. So with that said, that's the last leg of it. Is the guy's a good pitcher, but how does he pitch against this team? And the Mets in Atlanta, they're fighting for first place, so you got to look more deep into it. All right, let's look at today's games. Saturday, August 6th, we got Atlanta and the Mets again. We got Peterson, 5-2 at the 3.54 for the Mets, and Orduzzi, I think he was on another team, 4-3 at the 3.75, over under 9. Now, based on what happened with the ace yesterday, I'm going to take this game over. I'm taking Atlanta over 9. Because if they hit the ace or a very good pitcher for 8 runs in the, now here's where I'm chasing a little bit going, well, they did that yesterday. They're going to do that today. I'm only saying if they hit him, they'll keep hitting. They're both I'm looking at the streak. They're hitting, they're scoring runs. Therefore, I think they're going to continue to score runs with the weaker pitchers. This game could be 1-0, but I'll go over 9. Miami and the Cubbies, we got Pablo Lopez from Miami, 7-6 with the 3.41 against Drew Smiley, 3-6 with the 4.42. A couple of pigs. Probably will go over. This is the games that get you in trouble. You think it's an over, and then it ends 1-0, and you're like scratching your head. So yesterday's game was 2-1. I am going to just stay away from this one. California against Seattle. We got Jamie Barria, 1-1 with a 2.55 against George Kirby for Seattle, 2-3 with a 3.56. This looks like an under. The over-under 7.5. There's a big line on Seattle's minus 200, and I don't understand why. This must be a new pitcher or bullpen pitcher, 1-1 with a 2.55. But, he has one bad outing. I looked at the Mets pitcher. After giving up 8 runs in 2 innings, his ERA was 2.26. Now it's 3.5. So it just shows you this guy has a bad outing today, and it's going to be, a 5.0 ERA. So you can't believe the 2.55. Again, I'm going to pass on this game. I don't know who this Kirby is. He's 2-3. I'm not betting Seattle. And then do I bet the over? So let's ignore that one. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, JT Brubacher, 4-4 against Austin Voth, 1-1 with a 5.4. Baltimore has been playing good ball lately. Pittsburgh not as much. Let's go over in this game. Baltimore over with these pitchers. You got a 5.5 and a 4.4. And the Pitts pitcher's 2-9. Who's not a reliever. Baltimore's 1-1. I don't know, but 8.5. So let's go over 8.5. Baltimore's hitting well. I can't take their pitcher with a 5.54 ERA. I don't know enough about him, but I know the Pittsburgh pitcher stinks. 2-9 with a 4.40. Washington and Philly over under 9. Corbin 4-15 with the 6.57. How do you have a pitcher in the major leagues with a 4-15 record? First of all, 6.57 ERA against Philly. Suarez 7-5 with a 3-star. We're going to take Philly there. Are you kidding? A guy in the major leagues is 4-15 with a 6.57 ERA, and he's still in the majors. This is the problem with baseball. There's too many minor leaguers in it that have no business being there. And, do you want to watch minor league and they want to charge you for major league prices? So that's ridiculous. Houston and Cleveland. Luis Garcia for Houston, 8-7, 3.81 against Cal Quintel, 7-5, 4.08. I have no interest here. I can't trust an 8-7 pitcher with a 3.81 over under 8.5. Probably an over. All right, let's go Houston over. Houston hits the ball. Houston over 8.5, but I don't love it. Cleveland, I don't know. Tampa and Detroit. We had Tampa yesterday. They got a come-from-behind victory over Detroit. That's funny. Detroit usually has a solid bullpen. Once you get to the bullpen with the lead, they usually close it, but they're probably getting tired. Bad coaching. The manager really has no idea what he's doing with his pitching staff. A lot of his relievers should be the starters and vice versa. He's got really weak starters, and he doesn't know what to do, and they last 3 or 4 innings, and then he works his bullpen, but he won't pitch the guys 2-3 innings. I would pitch one guy. If he's hot, I'd keep him out there, let him keep going 2-3 innings, and then that's how you rest the guy, and then the next guy comes in, and if the guy's hot, you let him pitch 3 innings. This 1-inning crap, this is major league stuff. These are professional athletes. That's a bad excuse. Man, Shane McClanahan, 10-4, the 207 against Garrett Hill. Here's our lock, everybody. Tampa Bay, McClanahan, Lock City, especially against Detroit. This should be fun. 10-4 the 207, and he just lost. So look for him to be mad. See, when a good team or good athlete, Jordan has a bad day. Magic had a bad day. Here you got McClanahan, Verlander. After it's like teams after a loss. Tom Brady, they get pissed off and they do not lose 2 in a row. Very, very often. 1% of the time. If this guy loses this game, I'll be absolutely stunned. But because he's playing a 1-3, 5.88 ERA for Detroit, I can't play the game under because Tampa's, even with their weak hitting, scoring 5-6 runs a game versus Detroit. So I look for a 4-0 shutout for McClanahan today. It's a lock. White Sox, Texas. We locked the White Sox with their ace yesterday. W. They won 3-2, I believe. Today, not so much. Michael Kopech, 4-7 with the 3.12 against Dane Dunning, 1-6 with the 4.3. Jesus Christ. Can you get 2 worse pitchers? 1-6 for Texas. Well, I can't bet that. Mike Kopecki 4-7. I can't bet him. You got two lousy pitchers, over under of 8. I just don't know. This is a game I just watched. I mean, do you bet it over? Possibly an over. I'm not going to play it. Texas is very irregular for me, so I lay away. It was a 3-2 game yesterday with the ace on the mound, but the White Sox didn't hit the fifth pitcher for Texas, so I can't get excited in an over here. So let's just stay away. The 49ers and the Raiders, a beautiful West Coast game, Bay Area. We got Rodon for Frisco, 9-6 with the 3.0 ERA. Now that's a pro pitcher against Adam Euler, 1-4 at the 7.68. We're taking the 49ers just straight. So Howard, how do you choose over under versus the pitcher? Well, in this case, you have Rodon, who's a 3.0 against an Adam Euler, 1-4 at the 7.68. So the question is, Frisco will hit, and their pitcher should shut down Oakland, but Oakland's not going to hit much. So we don't know if they're going to be over or under because of that. We know Frisco should hit this pitcher with the 7.68 ERA, and we know their pitcher's 9-6 with the 3. So we know Frisco should hit Oakland, and their pitcher's good. We don't know what Oakland's going to do, so therefore we can't bet it over. We can bet over the other game where we bet over with Baltimore because both pitchers had 5 ERAs. We're assuming both teams are going to score runs, and neither pitcher's really that strong. Here, Rodon's pretty good with the 3.0 ERA. He's not great, but he's good. Against the 7.68, he should get the win, and they should hit Oakland pretty good. So, again, this is a game where you take the team, Frisco, like we took Tampa, as opposed to an over-under. Boston KC had it over. Easy winner yesterday. Again, Nathan Eovaldi, 5-3 with the 4.11 against Daniel Lynch, 4-7 with the 4.70. We're going over 9.5 again. Boston. Now, they're a good over team. They got a weak bullpen, over 9.5. They got a weak bullpen, good hitting, which is just what you want. It's like Miami of Florida, great quarterback, good offense, and no defense. So not only are they going to score, they're going to give up runs. They're going to give up touchdowns, and you're going to get a high-scoring game. Same thing here. Boston really doesn't pitch well, doesn't really have a good bullpen, but they can hit. And Kansas City is just a weak team, 42-65. They're as bad as the Tigers, 42-66. Anyway, so let's go over with Boston. Toronto and Minnesota. Didn't play them yesterday. No, we did. We played it over 8.5, and it won pretty easily. And again, we got over under 9. We got Mitch White, 1-2 with a 3.70 for Toronto. Dylan Bundy, 6-5 with a 5.04 ERA for Minnesota. I don't want this game at all. Toronto's favored -120 with Mitch White, 1-2 with the 3.70. See, you listen to the radio, sometimes they have this BetMGM channel, and these idiots are talking about, well, the market's this and this is that. And I don't know what they're talking about. I'm a professional gambler with a very high IQ in how to bet, how to gamble, how to pick games. I listen to them. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Well, the market's this, and I don't really know a player on it, but they should be laying 110, and I like the 120 price. And this guy's going to go to the bathroom 7 times during the game. I'm going to bet that because that's plus 200. And what the hell are you talking? See, they don't understand the variables of what you look at. They don't understand how to bet, and they're chasing things because the odds are good. Well, why do you think the odds are good? Because it's never going to happen. Well, this guy will be the MVP. Who cares? Why are you even looking at? Why would you even make that bet? So they're trying to scam everybody who's listening to make stupid bets. Please do not listen to those channels or those people. Please listen to who you want to, but you've got to understand is why and what are they telling you and why should you bet it. My man wanted to bet under yesterday, and I told him there was no good unders to bet, and there wasn't any. There was only one game went under, and that was Chicago and Miami, and which was already gone. But I'll give you unders when there's unders. I'm going to give you one next play. So Toronto Mini, we're going to just it's a tough game to call. I don't know who Mitch White, 1-2 with the 370. So let's pass on Mini Toronto. Now here's your under. Atlanta and the Mets. Oh, it's a beautiful under. We got Max Fried, the ace for Atlanta, 10-3, 258. Max Scherzer for the Mets, 7-2, 213. This is a lock. This is going with Tampa Bay. Nick, I know you like parlays. Here you go. Take the NYJTS, Jets, 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 only this time, NYM under 7. And this is a high over-under. This is lock number 2. You've got to be kidding me. Wow. Now, I see over-unders at 6.5, and I can't figure it out. Here you got 7 with these guys. You have ace against ace. I am not going to take Scherzer against Fried. I'm taking the under. And this looks like, is this the second game of a doubleheader? Yeah, we have Atlanta and Mets at 110. And we played the over in the game. And so that means they're going to want these pitchers. It's game 2. It's the night game. They're going to want both pitchers to go all the way because the bullpen will be used in the first game. So look for these guys to pitch 8 innings, which is going to be a 1-0 game. It's a lock. I hate this bullshit that the first game's at 1 o'clock and then there's a night game. Like they're punishing the fans who would actually pay tickets to go to the game. We're not going to let you stay. You got to leave, and then a new crowd has to come in. Instead of making, when I was a kid, you'd go to the Tiger game, and it'd be a doubleheader. It'd be one game. You'd rest a half hour, and there'd be a second game, and you'd watch them both. This is absolutely ridiculous, this 1 o'clock, 7 o'clock crap, so they can make a few more dollars. I get it. It's the Mets are in first place. Atlanta's in second, 3 games behind. But you should treat your fans. They're the ones who pay the players and pay you. And without them, you're screwed. You don't get the TV if you don't have fans. Nobody watches the TV. Nobody watches the commercials. You don't have anybody. Anyway, there's your second lock. The Mets under Tampa with McCullough. There you go, Nick. Play your parlay. Cincinnati, Milwaukee. Didn't play yesterday. 2 inconsistent teams. We got an over-under at 7.5. We got Nick Lodolo for Cincinnati. 3-3 with the 4.23 against Aaron Ashby. 2-9 with the 4.13. Why is Milwaukee a 190 favorite with Aaron Ashby 2-9 with the 4.13 ERA? You got to be kidding. And then look at the over-under, 7.5. You got to be more kidding. I assume there's probably injuries. I don't get that much into it as far as injuries and baseball because I don't know half the players and I don't know who the reserves are. They could be better than the play. I mean, I see 4 guys in a Tiger lineup that aren't hitting 200. So if they're injured, what do you do with it? They probably will score more runs. So I'm going to lay away from that. I don't understand I get Scherzer Fried 7. That's a perfect over-under. You got 7.5 with Nick Lodolo and Aaron Ashby. Are you kidding me? So here's where they're looking at the team scoring. They're looking at Cincinnati, Milwaukee doesn't score that much or whatever. It's got nothing to do with that. That's not how you bet baseball. You bet it based on the pitchers. And this 7.5 makes no sense. I would think it would go way over this, but again, I'm not going to play it. Milwaukee to me is just, who knows? They can lose 1-0 or 10-9 in the same game with the same pitchers. Avoid them. The Yankees and the Cardinals. St. Louis won yesterday. We got over under 8.5. We got the Yankees. Basically, the game's even. Domenico Germain for New York. 1-1 with a 6.39 against Jordan Montgomery. 3-3 with a 3.69, who I think was on the Yankees and just got traded to St. Louis. I don't know why the Yankees are favored. 1-1 with a 6.39 ERA. Again, this game had runs yesterday. I think it was 6-4. They should hit Jermaine. Jermaine will hit 8.5. Let's go over. Let's go St. Louis over 8.5. I wanted the Yankees scored, I think it was 6-4, 8-6, something like that. So I think they're going to hit here. Colorado, Arizona. over under of 8. We got Antonio Stanzala, 3-6 with a 4.87 ERA. No wonder Colorado's so bad. Look at these pitchers, 3-6 with a 4.87 against Merrill Kelly, 10-5 with a 2.87. I like Arizona's pitcher better. Let's take Arizona. It's funny, I'm weeding out bad games, and I still got 6-7 games on the slot. All right, the Chargers against the Rams. A good football game anyway. We got Mike Clevenger, 3-3 with a 3.13 again for San Diego, and we got 1-0 with a .77 ERA. Over under 8.5. I have no idea who these pitchers are, and I will not play this game. The Dodgers will probably go over because they seem to get a lot of runs. It's way above elevation, and I think it's like Colorado, right? They get a lot. They get a lot more scoring, and the ballpark's so small. Probably an over of 8.5. Again, I'm not playing it because I don't know who the hell Andrew Haney 1-0 with a .77 ERA is. So I'm going to leave it alone. The Angels, California against Seattle. This is game 2. We got another double. Yeah, they're on at 4-10, and now they're on at 10-10. So in game 2, over under of 7 somehow. Now, how is this over under 7? Reed Detmers, 3-3 with a 3.62 against Chris Flexen, 7-8 with a 3.73. How is this over under 7 and the Scherzer Fried over under 7? It boggles my mind. This is where Vegas just misses the whole point. They don't know how to put in. Everybody says how great Vegas is. Oh, they hit the number right on the head. That's a bunch of bullshit. They miss 90% of their lines are bad. I can see how can the Atlanta, New York Fried Scherzer line be 7 and this line be 7? It's impossible. There's no way you can have the same line in both games. And yeah, you can tell me California can hit or Trout's out, and Seattle, I don't know how good they hit, average. But it's all average. It's how are they going to hit Chris Flexen? How are they going to hit Reed Detmers? How are they going to do in the first game? The relievers should be out in the second game. So this probably should go over because you're going to have your relievers go in game 1. They're probably going to be a little weaker in game 2. But I am not touching. I don't like Ohtani playing the field and pitching. Do one or the other. If it's good enough for Babe Ruth, it's good enough for you. And then Seattle. So I'm not going to waste time or money on this game. Let's go back. So I did the channel to go look at it. So let's see. Hey, Dennis, how do I contact you about this year's football subscription? www.teaserking.com. Purchase picks through PayPal. You click on purchase picks. There's a link takes you to PayPal. You pay me, and then you get a password, and then you go back to the site for the picks once we start with the picks. Or you can email me. My email is on www.teaserking.com, and feel free to email me there and ask me. You bought with me last year, so if you want this year, I'll take 100 off. So it'll be $750 minus 100. It'll be $650 for you, and then you get the whole year for $650. So that's how you can do it. But you can always go to www.teaserking.com, or my email is hrobins77@gmail.com. But just go to the site, and then it should be on there on the homepage. But that's the best way. So always go to the site, www.teaserking.com, and that's where all the football is, and the baseball if you want to buy it. But I just give you the picks here. Don, the first one. Okay, Dennis, have a great day. And again, the lock is Tampa Bay with McCullough against a weak Detroit pitcher, and the Mets, Atlanta, both aces on the mound, going under, and it's 7, which seems really high in this game. I know Nick likes the parlays. This is a perfect parlay for you, Nick. So go jump on it. I can't see a better one. I don't know. I assume you can parlay anything like a team and an over under. You can in football. I tease that all the time. So that's where you're at. So again, let's go through baseball. Although we have plenty of time, it's 11 o'clock here. These games don't start till 1-ish. Atlanta over 9, game 1. Baltimore over 8.5. Philadelphia. Houston over 8.5. First lock, Tampa Bay with McCullough over Detroit. San Francisco. Boston over 9.5. St. Louis and the Yankees over 8.5. Arizona and the Mets under 7 is lock number 2. So the locks are Tampa Bay and the Mets under 7. And you got now. Normally, I would lock Scherzer. I would lock Verlander. I would lock Scherzer. I would lock McCullough. But this is the creat of it is when you have ace against ace. So if Verlander was playing Scherzer, it'd be a lock under. I wouldn't be locking Verlander. It's the only time I don't lock Verlander is when he's up against the other ace and runs are going to be hard to score. It's an obvious under. But anytime Verlander plays, anybody in the north of 3.5, it's a lock Verlander. And he kills you, man. It's 1-0. He killed the Yankees twice. I know there's Yankee fans out here that, I can't, the Yankees, I got to bet them over. It's all about who they play, who's pitching. They're not going to hit Verlander. They're not going to hit Scherzer. I don't care who you are. Sandy Koufax struck out Mickey Mantle, right? Mantle didn't hit 4 home runs against Cole. You couldn't hit him. Koufax would give you that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Then he had a beautiful one of these curveballs that does this and drops. Mantle couldn't hit it. You can't hit a good pitcher. A good pitcher, forget about it. I played baseball. You cannot. And then when they take Koufax out of the game for these idiots, like, can you imagine Al Koufax pitching 100 pitches, 6 innings? The other team would be throwing a party. Yeah, he's out of the game. We haven't gotten a hit, but now we've got the relievers in. It's just unbelievable. So anyway, I want to share this video again. I think it's important that we do see it. And I'm going to
down their short position to the lowest level in the history of the COMEX. It seems that they're also trying to take possession of metal and do it in a way that's somewhat a little bit more clandestine. If we look at the numbers out of SLV in terms of what they've delivered out of SLV, it's remarkable. 20 million ounces this week were delivered off of SLV, 60 million over the past month, and 100 million over the past 4 months.
Okay, now why do I show you that? That's 100 million ounces in 4 months of gold leaving this ETF SLV. That's the point. It's they're actually taking the gold. They want the gold because they know the derivative SLV or GLD. Now SLV is silver. Now there's more silver than gold, and it's used in production, computers, cell phones, batteries, a lot more. And a lot of the car companies need silver. And so I tell you that because that's going to go through the roof. And now everybody's like, well, I've been watching it. It hasn't gone. What's going to make it go? You're telling me it's going to go, but why? And that's now the banks are taking $100 million ounces of silver. They're buying it in coins. Why? They're not buying it to sell at $25 or $20. They're not buying it at $20, the COMEX price. They're paying $30, and they're not selling it for $35. You don't buy 100 million ounces to sell at $35. You buy it to sell it at $2,000. So the supply is shrinking. I went to my coin guy last week. He only had 6 Silver Eagles left, and he only had 2 American Eagle gold coins left. That's it. So supply is drying up. The banks are buying it. The central banks, China and Russia, are buying it. And what happens when supply dries up? The price goes through the roof. With all these wars, they need money. China and Russia are both broke, and they both need money, and they both have a lot of gold. So it's in their best interest to get the gold price to where it should be, not this little 1,800. They're keeping it down so the banks can buy. It's a beautiful thing. Hey, I want to pay $2 for steaks. Can you guys keep that steak price down? And that's basically what's happening. Oh, you want to buy gold and silver? We'll dilute it down to $30, even though the real price is about $1,000 for an ounce of silver. And when I go buy it at the coin store, which I'm going to do later, the guy says, "Oh, it's expensive. It's $35." And I go, "No, it's $1,000 an ounce coin that you're selling to me for $35. It's not expensive." And it's just how much can I buy? And I try to buy 20 at a time. That's the thing. Are you on the Mets sex? What does that mean? Am I on the Mets sex? I am on the Mets. Well, I'm on. What are they playing? Atlanta? Are you on the Mets second game under? Who are they playing? Well, let me see. The Mets second game. Yeah, that's the lock. The Mets lock is the second game. I'm on the Mets first game. I'm playing the over in game one, and I'm locking the Mets game two. That's your lock. The Scherzer game's the lock. That's the second game. Yeah. So we'll go over it one more time. Atlanta, the Mets game one, we're over 9. Baltimore over 8.5. Philly, Houston over 8.5. Lock, Tampa Bay, McCullough. San Francisco, Boston over 9.5. St. Louis over 8.5. Arizona, and the Mets under in game 2, under 7 is the second lock with Tampa Bay. So if you're parlaying, there you go, Tampa Bay and the Mets. All right, so let's get to college football. So we did, if you go back to last weekend, I first did the AAC and the Atlantic Coast AAC, Atlantic Coast Conference, ACC, and the AAC. So I did those two conferences. Then on Sunday, I did the Big 10 and the Big 12 and Baylor and Michigan, Ohio State. Yesterday, I did Conference USA, some independents, and the MAC. That was yesterday. Today, I'm doing Mountain West, and I think the Pac-10. Yeah, I'm going to do the Pac-10. So those two conferences, and tomorrow I'll finish it up with SEC and Sun Belt. So there's a lot of teams, and I need to know them because that's my job, but that's my passion. You need to understand simply what's their defense look like? Are they an over team, an under team, an A team, or a Z team? So you don't want to fuck with the A teams, Appalachian State or Fresno State's an A team this year. So you got to be like, I don't want to bet against these teams. That's why I grade them. The A teams you stay away from. I get an over team. I don't want to fuck with the good defense. I don't want to go over against Georgia, right? Oregon plays Georgia. I don't want to touch the over in that game. It's an under game. And that's what you got to understand is who are the over teams? And you want to play them against weak defenses. UCLA, the first week, is playing Bowling Green. It doesn't have a good defense. They're going to score 60 points on them. Tennessee is a very good offense. We haven't gotten to them yet. Miami of Florida, Wake Forest. These are teams we're looking, but then you got to watch out for Clemson. So Miami plays Clemson. Wake Forest plays. You got to be careful. Clemson's defense is incredible this year. They're as good as Georgia's last year. They got 6 All-Americans on their team, not all conference guys. So you have to be very, very careful when dealing with the Miami and the Wake Forest and these good quarterback teams. Coastal Carolina, you are looking for a bad defense. So they're going to score and score and score because the defense isn't going to problem. The problem's going to be when you play a team that you don't know. Maybe it's I don't know who's the best, like an Iowa, right? You play Iowa, they got a tough defense. Wisconsin normally, Michigan. All right, let's take Iowa. You don't want to play Coastal Carolina and that offense against Iowa and that defense. You're not going to do nothing, right? They will hold you down. Look what they did against Maryland. They killed Maryland. And that was one of my locks last year. It was just purely Tagovailoa's brother stinks like take Taylor. When he plays a good team, he doesn't show up. He threw 5 interceptions, I believe, in the first half. A tough defensive team will always shut down a quarterback. Like I just explained, the pitcher, Verlander will shut down the Yankees. A good defense like Iowa will shut down a good quarterback. And if you don't have a good quarterback, then you're going to bet against them also. So we're looking for, do you have a good quarterback? And that's why you hear me talk about the returning quarterback. He's good, he's bad, he's a running quarterback, not a passer. I give you numbers. When I'm giving you the numbers, 10 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, what am I telling you? This guy sucks. He throws a lot of interceptions, and he doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. So if you need this guy as a dog, you're not going to get him. Now, Zappe at Western Kentucky, we bet all the time. I don't know if we locked him in the bowl game, but we had him in the bowl game. And he just darted and darted. They couldn't stop him. They scored 50 points in the bowl game. And that's what you're looking for. But if Zappe played Iowa, I wouldn't be betting Western Kentucky. I don't think I had him against Army. I think I had Army against Western Kentucky, and Army won. It was like 37-35 early in the year before you knew who Zappe was. But Army beat him because Army's got a very good defense. But Army scored, and I thought they'd keep the ball away from them. So that's what you're looking at is the upsets happen with the good defenses. Just like in baseball, a good pitcher will beat the other team. In football, the good defense will shut down the good offense. That's why the Packers won in the 60s and the Steelers in the 70s. And when Joe Montana won, it's because he had a great defense. When he had those other years when he didn't win, he didn't have the great defense. Lawrence Taylor won for the Giants all by himself. Phil Simms was a terrible quarterback. And then you had Dallas, great defense, and New England only won with a good defense. Brady went 10 years without winning the Super Bowl because they didn't have a good defense. The Ravens won with their defense. That's it. They did not have a good quarterback. And then you had the Steelers would win with their defense. Seattle killed Manning with their defense. So the defense is very, very important in football. So that's what I try to teach you here is look for these good, strong defensive teams. And that's why they're normally A teams. If they have any type of offense, they're an A or B. If they don't, then they're a great under team. And that's really where we're making our money. But we figured that out. So let's get into the Mountain West. Best quarterback, Jay Keener, Fresno State. We already know about him. He's a superstar. Logan Bonner, Utah State. Again, Utah State is Arkansas State. The coach and the quarterback went to Utah State, and that is a light 'em up, big offensive team. Hank Bachmeier for Boise, good quarterback. You know, he's no Kellen Moore, but he's a good quarterback. The best runners are Utah State, Boise, Air Force, Hawaii, Air Force with another. But Air Force has 3 running backs, so it's not surprising. And their whole scheme. Air Force is a very good team to bet on. They're not Alabama, right? Alabama should be laying 7, lays 14. Air Force should be laying 7, lays 3, because they're not calculating how strong Air Force is. Air Force, just like Army, those are great teams that you make so much money on those teams in the right situation. And again, I had them against Oklahoma, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Easy wins, all 3 with the Army. All right, start off with Air Force. Good coach, been there a while. Troy Calhoun, that's what you like. He's got a good system in place. He's proven. It's consistency. You know what you're getting out of the Air Force. Running quarterback, very strong defense, very strong running. Obviously, they're going to run the clock, probably a good under. They scored 31 a game and gave up 19. They're an A team. That's exactly what an A team is. Look at the defense, gives up 19. And they're playing some pretty explosive teams in the Mountain West. They rush for 327 and run and pass for 95. So they are going to eat the clock. And good luck trying to defend them. They run a good option, and they got a good running quarterback. So you key on the quarterback, he pitches. Very hard offense to stop. More teams should be running this style of offense. They score 31 points. They're freaking Air Force. They throw for 98 yards a game, and they still score 31 points. It's incredible. Very good defense. They don't even give up 300 yards on defense a game. Can you believe that? 102 rushing and 194 pass. Now they're in the Mountain West, who has Boise, Utah State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Jose State, Nevada last year. I mean, they had 5 or 6 quality teams in there. They lost to Utah State 49-45. San Diego State, a good defensive team, 20-14. And, of course, Miami beat them 21-14. That's it. They beat Boise 24-17, Nevada 41-39, Louisville 31-28. So the best wins probably Army and Boise. So they're a very strong team, very good against anybody. They lost Army, but they beat Nevada, who was, Carson Strong is a very good quarterback. So against good quarterbacks, they still hold up. Very strong team, Air Force. Boise State, they got a new coach out of nowhere. Well, he's been there a year. They went 7-5. Not a good year for Boise. I think everybody's been there, done that with Boise. Okay, the blue turf. Okay, we get it. Returning quarterback's good. No running game. They're only a B team. So here Air Force is an A team, but Boise, who you think's the A team, is the B team. That's why it's critical to rank them. And then in your head, you go, okay, Air Force. Anytime, they're a good team to bet on. Boise, pretty good team to bet on. Had their problems with Nevada, a good passing team last year. Lost to the Air Force. And lost to San Diego State, a good defensive team. They did beat Fresno State quite handily, which is shocking. They didn't play the Army. So they lost to the Air Force and they lost to Nevada and San Diego State. So teams with pretty good defenses beat them last year. Bachmeyer, 20 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Now, I didn't talk about the Air Force guy. He had 7 touchdowns and 3 picks. But they don't throw it that well. But he's, he only has 3 picks, so he doesn't turn the ball over. Doesn't fumble a lot either. So Bachmeyer's 20-8. Their leading runner is Holani with only 500 yards. They run for 120 and pass for 260. Your typical, we pass a lot type of team. And there's so many teams that are just like this. That's why when I get a Baylor in my grips or Oklahoma State and they run for 200 and they pass for 200, I'm all excited because the defenses have no idea. They don't see these teams. They don't know how to defend them, and they crush them because, look at Baylor last year. They should have been in the playoff. That's ridiculous. They weren't. They beat Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma State. What the hell do you want them to do? And then, believe me, Baylor would have beat Alabama. I'm convinced. They would not have beaten Georgia. And I don't know. They would have played Michigan right top, but they would have beat Alabama, and that's why they didn't want them in. And that's why you need more than 4 teams. This 4-team crap, there's not enough good teams, is such bullshit. You could have had Alabama, Georgia, and then you could have had, Pitt. They won the ACC. They beat Clemson. Baylor and Oklahoma State deserved it. Ohio State always deserves it, and Michigan, and then Utah should have been in it. You saw what happened in that Utah-Ohio State game. So there's 8 teams easily that could have won the title. But since you had such like LSU with Burrow, they beat everybody. They beat the whole world. They beat Florida, Alabama, LSU. You weren't going to beat them. Georgia last year, nobody was beating them. They could have beaten half the pro teams, I guarantee you, with that defense. And to prove it, 10 of their defensive guys got drafted in the first 3 rounds of the pro draft. So there you go. The whole team gets drafted in the pros the first couple of rounds, the first pick. So Georgia would have played most of these shitty NFL teams very easily. So again, 29, and they pass more. So they're just they're a decent team. They're not. Don't just bet them as the favorite, and you got to be careful against them as a dog. But now I showed you the difference. Here's Air Force. They give up 296 a game, okay? They're in the same conference with Boise, and they play Army and Navy, all right? And Louisville, who's a high-scoring. And here Boise, who you think, they're so much better, they give up 364 yards a game on defense. Air Force doesn't give up 300, and Boise gives up 364. That speaks volume right there. That's all you need to know is that Air Force defense is 60 yards better, 65 yards better than Boise, who has a fairly good defense. They only gave up 19 a game also, but I'm giving Boise a B. I don't like the coach. They don't really run the ball. Their defense, it's okay. It's a good defense. They open at Oregon State, and is Oregon State, who's the favorite there? Oregon State's 3.5-point favorites. I don't know. I'm not the old boys out have taken a 9.5 in a heartbeat. No, I don't know. I like Oregon State a lot. They're balanced, good running. We'll see when we get there. Colorado State, new coach, new quarterback. They lost Strong, and they're going to an air raid offense, which you can't just go to. Oh, this is Colorado State, not Nevada. I'm sorry. Going to an air raid. They're an E team. So they scored 23, gave up 28, almost a W team. An E team, they kind of are like in the middle. They scored 24, 25, 26. They give up 24, 25, 26. So you're scoring and giving up the same point. They run for 160, they pass for 250, and they want to pass more. Their quarterback they got two freshmen. I do like their coach, Jay Norvell, but even this is crazy. He went 3-9. Oh no, this is Colorado. I keep getting this confused with Nevada for some reason. 3-9 at Colorado State. So they're going to be an over team. They score 20, they give up 28. When you go to an air raid and you go pass more, you're going to give up more points because you're not going to rest your defense. The other team's going to have the ball more because your possessions are either going to be 3 incompletions, punt, or they're going to be 3 or 4 passes, touchdown. And again, you're going to have trouble in the red zone. So it's not an easy thing. He's got freshman quarterback. Oh, actually, okay, that's why I'm confused. Novell was the coach at Nevada. That's why I'm getting confused. So now he's at Colorado State. This is his first season. So you're wondering why he left Nevada. Happened to leave it when Carson Strong left. How about that? And I don't like this. Too much movement around and coaches and players. It's actually ridiculous, but it makes it harder for us because you've got to get continuity and if you're doing a statistical analysis, right, if you have 3 tests versus 30 tests, 3 tests doesn't really tell you a lot. 30 tests, you can do it. That's why in baseball, when I say the guy's 2-0, I don't know. But when a guy like Verlander is 12-2, I know what I got. And you get more samples. And that's the problem with football is all this movement. I don't have a big enough statistical sample to get what I think is going to happen. And so Colorado State, again, new quarterback. They open at Michigan. This is going to be ugly. You can't start a freshman quarterback. This freshman backed up Carson Strong while redshirting at Nevada last year. So this guy's never even played. Michigan's going to kill this team. I got 27-0 Michigan, but after reading this, would be a lot more because they're not going to score. Not on Michigan. See, here's the death trap I'm telling you about. You got a team with no offense and not a good defense playing an A team in Michigan. The quarterback's back. They lost the running back. They got others. Strong defense. Again, a new defensive coordinator for Michigan. So you have a team Michigan's going to shut them out at home. They're going to shut them out, right, because they want to prove, and they're home, 100,000. So this is going to be Colorado State. Now, even with the air raid, Michigan faces Ohio State and loses to them every year, who run basically an air raid with running. So they're going to know how to defend it, look for a lot of blitzes. Freshman quarterback's going to be, and if you're down, you need touchdown to cover. You're not going to get it here. Colorado State they don't have a quarterback. So you have no quarterback. The runner, 752. And I don't even see him back. So not a lot of running, air raid offense. You don't have the quarterback for it. So, yeah, I'm going to run the air raid, but it doesn't work here, right? It doesn't. You got to have Joe Montana, Dan Marino to run it, right? That's who runs it. Elway, you can't run it with some freshman who's never played before. He doesn't know the reads, doesn't know what to do. So look for Colorado State to be pretty bad this year offensively, and which will make their defense worse. Maybe near the middle of the year. So they got about the 22nd, they got Hawaii. By then we'll see what they got. They got Utah State, Nevada, Washington State. So it's going to be struggle time for them, getting the quarterback up to speed and the offense up to speed. Well, once they get it, it's good. And then it shows you Carson Strong. He's running the air raid, right? So is he really good? Not. And Nevada struggled last year in some big games because they couldn't run the ball. And Carson Strong looked better than he was because they ran the air raid. It's a system. Like Alabama's quarterbacks are not very good. When you get them out of the system, none of them in the pros. Matt Jones was doing okay. Now he stinks. They drafted Zapke in the 5th round, and Zapke's much better quarterback than Mac Jones. I mean, it's not even close. So look for New England to switch. And again, it shows you that Alabama's a system. Never draft a quarterback from Alabama. New Mexico Lobos, they are new coach, second year, new quarterback from Kansas. You're getting a quarterback who couldn't make the Kansas team. Weak offense, no running, weak defense, Z team. This is our bitch in this conference, New Mexico. They open with Maine. Boise will kill them. LSU will kill them. Vegas is weak. Wyoming, not good. Fresno State will kill them. Utah State will kill them. Air Force will kill them. San Diego State will kill them. Those are the games you're looking to bet against New Mexico. Of course, you'll get big numbers, but it doesn't matter because that'll be conference games. They need to win for the conference title, which is what these teams play for. New Mexico so bad, 12 points per game, 28 they gave up on defense. They ran for 120 and passed for 114. I mean, this is ridiculous. So they got 200 yards on offense. This is terrible. Coach is terrible, obviously. He's got no players. This is a Z team. Just bet against New Mexico. Pound them. The first week they play Maine, and I bet they don't even beat Maine, although they do get them at home. But the Boise game, we're going to bet Boise because you lick your chops when you face a Z team. You're just going to lick your chops. Okay, Utah State, as I say, they are Arkansas State from 2 years ago, who was a very explosive team, but not a good defensive team. Well, they score 32 and give up 24. They're a solid B, good defense, passing offense, good quarterback, Logan Bonner, Arkansas State, 36 touchdowns and 12 picks. If you need a late touchdown, you're going to get it from Utah State. They can run. Their runner ran for 880 yards. Again, the good coach from Arkansas State moving up. So this is fine. They open with UConn. They will kill UConn. And then they get Alabama, and they have no chance in the game. That this style of offense, you got to have a defense to play with Alabama. But then we'll get them against Vegas, and be careful with BYU and Air Force. They got a pretty tough schedule. Now, why would they put Alabama on it? Are you going to beat Alabama? You're not going to beat them, especially at Alabama. Yeah, you got a good offense, and you might score on them, but they're going to blitz you, and you just can't handle it. They know how to put on that Steeler blitz, and that's why this team can't beat Alabama. Alabama will blitz. They have speed and power. You got to get the ball. You got to be Tom Brady. You got to throw the ball in 1.2 seconds to beat Alabama. Good luck, or you need to run. And we look at their running. They only ran for 142. The runner 884. So the only way they're going to beat Alabama is to pound the ball on, I guess, right at them because they got speed. The best way to beat speed's with power. It's like paper, rock, scissors. You beat rock with paper, and you beat paper with scissors. But you can't beat rock with scissors. You can't cut rock, but you can cover rock. But you can't beat rock. It's the same thing here. You can't try to pass on Alabama. You don't have enough time. The only way to beat them is with your defense getting turnovers and then running the ball to and short, quick passes. So can Utah State do that? I just don't see it, but it would be very nice to see. Wyoming, always an under team, score 25, give up 23. They are a balanced team. They run for 211 and give up 162. Even when Josh Allen was here, he was not very good here. He had a lot of turnovers and a lot of sacks. That's why I don't think Josh Allen's that good of a quarterback. It's how he played at Wyoming. He played good his junior year because they had a running back who ran for 2,000 yards. He's the Green Bay Packer running back, Adam Jones, I believe. That made Allen, and then when he left, Allen didn't do anything his senior year. And I was shocked. Well, he can throw the ball long. Whippy, that's not what you want in a quarterback. It's not about throwing the ball long. It's about throwing it to your guy and throwing a lot of completions and getting a lot of touchdowns. So, okay. More run offense. So I got him as more of a running team, strong defense. This is the coach. Boyle, 45, 15, 8 years. This was the coach that won all these Division II teams, right? I think it's from North Dakota State or Whitewater, or one of these that wins that. That's sort of like Brian Kelly. He won at Grand Valley State of Division III, but he'd win the title every year. Then he went to Cincinnati, went undefeated, but Notre Dame's too many restrictions. So watch LSU. It's going to be a very good team. Probably this year. They got the best receiver in college football. But we'll get to that when we get to SEC. Wyoming, again, no quarterback with no experience and no one back. It's just an under team. They're just going to play run and good defense. That's what they're going to play. As you can see, they run for 211, but they pass for 160. They don't have a returning quarterback. So they're playing at Illinois. Probably you can't take Illinois is a weak team. But Wyoming, good defensive team, and they're going to run, and they good coach, so they're not going to, try to throw the ball 40 times a game. They're going to pound at and punt and play defense. That Illinois game will be an under because Illinois has a good defense and no quarterback, and they got a good running back. So that's what you have. So again, we're categorizing Wyoming as an under. What did we say about Utah State? They're an over team. They're going to throw. Their defense is okay. They give up 24, but they're really a good over team. Same, and that. But we looked at Air Force, and they had a good defense, right? They didn't give up 300 yards a game. So all these teams have different personalities. So what Teaserking does is figure out personalities. So what we have here is, if Utah State plays Wyoming, you got a good offensive team with not much defense playing a tremendous defensive team. Defense always beats offense. So that's what you have. So that you don't want to lay 14 with Utah State against Wyoming. You do want to lay them against New Mexico. So you've got to figure out, and with 130 teams, so I got my whole spreadsheet by conference, and I basically ranked the team. That's why I got the code. So I don't have to look at everything. I go, they're an A, they're a Z, they're a B, they're a W, they're an over. So I know exactly an over. They score 30, they give up 30. I don't need to read the stats, but I do go into the box scores. I do pull the stats, and then quickly, like Sunday morning, getting ready for the pros, I'm going through and looking for changes. Oh, Miami of Florida has now went from an under team to an over team because of Van Dyke or Wake Forest. They can't stop anybody, but now they're scoring 40 a game. So now you see the changes. That's why I look at the stats, and then I can change a team. Let's say Wyoming starts putting up 35 points a game. They're an A team with that defense, or Utah State could easily, they gave up 24. Let's say they start giving up 19. Oh, now they're an A team. Now they can. So let's see what they do with Alabama. They play Alabama 24-20, even though they lose. They are now an A team because they played at Alabama very close. So that's what you look. Now, if they lose 52-20, that's about what you expect. Doesn't really change Utah State. They're not that strong defensively. And, getting killed by Alabama is what you expect. All right. So Wyoming a defense. Fresno State, A team, best team in the conference, strong defense. New head coach Jack Tadford, who was at California, and we bet a lot of unders on them. He had a great defense there, and then he leaves, and you're like, what the hell? Returning quarterback rate, we all know Haener. So here's a difference between a Big Ten quarterback who throws 10 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, and Haener 33 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. But with this offense, it's not a gimmick. It's not a Nevada with Strong. It's this one. And the thing I hate about Strong is he sat out the bowl because he didn't want to get injured. And that really pisses me off because that shows you don't have passion. If I get a chance to play, I want to play. I got a bowl game. I'm playing. It's not – now they're calling it an exhibition. What the fuck is that? It's not an exhibition. Oh, my God. If it was exhibition, every team would be in a bowl game then. So, Haener, 33-9. Their returning running back is a senior, 700 yards. They're going to pass 138 yards rushing, 326 passing. And I told you Boise, and out here, and they're huge difference, 326. But they only give up 20 points a game defensively, and it's going to get better with this coach. They open against Cal Poly. Then they play Oregon State, which is going to be a lovely game. Oregon State's a very strong team. Love their balance. And here you got Fresno and Haener. It's at Fresno. I think they played last year. They lost to Oregon 31-24. They beat UCLA. I had bet them that game, and I remember watching the end of it. UCLA scored twice to take the lead, and with 20 seconds left, and Haener hurt his hip, throws a touchdown in the corner to beat them 40-37. So I think I'm going to, let's see if they're dog. They beat Nevada 34-32. They beat San Diego State with that great defense 30-20. And that was it. And they beat UTEP in the bowl game 31-24. Killed San Jose State. So you can see they barely lost to Oregon, and they beat UCLA at UCLA. And see, when you see a win like that, that's when the bells and whistles go off going, okay, this team's for real. They went to UCLA and beat them. And the way they beat them, scoring in the last 10 seconds on a 15-yard pass and driving the field to get the 15-yard pass in the corner, was just beautiful to watch. And Haener's sitting there he can barely walk. He's got this hip injury, and he's saying, I'm in the game. This is a winner, this quarterback. Definitely bet on him. So, again, this is an A team. Score 33, give up 20. You're going to score more because now Haener's back for another year. This kid, between Van Dyke, this kid, and Rising from Utah, those are your top three quarterbacks. Fuck the Alabama, Ohio State system quarterbacks who put up a lot of touchdowns and that. Oh, he's the best. Show me an Ohio State or Alabama quarterback in the pros who's any good. I can show you a Fresno State quarterback. He plays for the Raiders named Derek Carr. I can show you a Fresno State receiver who was with the Green Bay Packers, Devontae Adams, who are superstars. Well, Carr's not a superstar, but Carr's very good in the NFL. You show me one Alabama besides Joe Namath and Ken Stabler. You can't, because there hasn't been, because it's a system. You got three, Jalen Hurts and Tagliavoa stink, and then you got they can't hit the broadside of a barn. See, it's just the system. They got fast receivers and they run, and they're not. That's the weakness of most college teams. They don't have the speed, they don't have the guys, so they take advantage of this very quick receiver that they've got, who does nothing in the pros either, except for Julio Jones, who's got a pulled hamstring every week. Unless they're on Monday Night Football, miraculously he can play then. So they're terrible NFL players, Alabama. But Fresno, I'd take this guy over Alabama's quarterback, and it's a joke that Alabama quarterback won the Heisman, and this guy's fucking 33-9 and beating UCLA, and he doesn't get any mention. Hawaii's in trouble. New coach, new quarterback, terrible defense, soft pass offense, or strong pass offense. The new coach is Timmy Chang, who used to quarterback there. So he's going to know how to quarterback, but his problem is he's got a new quarterback who's never freaking quartered. What are they going to do? There's no running. They scored 28 a game, gave up 31. So this is already a terrible defense. The strong over. Give them 4 or 5 weeks to learn Timmy Chung's system, so the quarterback should get a lot better. But right now, they're in trouble. They got Vanderbilt, who is SEC, is a terrible team, but they're SEC. Western Kentucky will light them up. Michigan, they'll kill them. Nevada, Fresno State. That's the game. Utah State, Fresno State. Those will be kills. So that's what we look for. See, it's hard when you get a New Mexico State who stinks. What are you going to do with it? That's college. You find this Hawaii, but you need good quarterbacks against them. So they're an over team. They're going to score and give up a ton of points. Nevada, new coach Ken Wilson. No offense. They lost strong. They lost the air raid from Northwest. Average run offense over if quarterback is good. The quarterback is Nate Cox. 2 touchdowns and 1 interception for a whole 200 yards. So who knows? The runner ran for 720. Last year, under the air raid with a new coach and a different coach and quarterback, 35 points a game. They only ran for 77 and threw for 347. They gave up 26. And they had the losses, as I said. They lost to Fresno State. They lost to San Diego State. They lost to Air Force. And they lost to Western 52-24 because Carson Strang sat out the bowl game. New coach. So what are you going to do? They open at New Mexico State. They probably will beat them because New Mexico sucks. But again, you've got a whole new coach, quarterback system. This is just watch and get the results, see what they do. They got Texas State, and then they're at Iowa. They'll probably get shut out. That's where I talk about the defense. They go to Iowa. They're not going to score a point. Iowa will win 20-0 or whatever. San Diego State, always a strong defensive team. This is the defensive team in the league. They scored 27, give up 19. Very strong defense. Brady Hoke, who sucked at Michigan, couldn't win a conference game. The terrible coach. Braxton Burmeister sounds like the Boise's brother, or Jalen Maiden. I don't know what quarterback it is. Burmeister's a Virginia Tech graduate transfer. Well, he sucked at Virginia Tech, so I don't know what you think you're getting. Basically, a strong defensive team. They ran for 170 and passed for 167, so they're kind of balanced, but a weak balance. They're more of an under team. When they play weaker quarterbacks, they'll shut them out. So they're a good team, but an under team. San Jose State. The quarterback was the guy from Hawaii who left, Chevin Cordero. Passing offense, new quarterback, Hawaii. Quarterback should be fine. He was decent at Hawaii running that system. And I got him as a W team. So they only scored 20 a game, gave up 26. The coach is back. So you got a new quarterback who's a good passer. The defense gives up 26. So we'll have to wait and see. They were good a few years ago with Josh Love, who I thought was better than Jordan Love. I don't know if he got drafted. The second week they're at Auburn. Well, that'll tell you everything you need to know how they play Auburn. UNLV, a Z team. Coach is terrible. New quarterback, no defense, no running, no offense. This is who we bet against. They're at Cal. That'll be a big Cal bet. The coach is 2-16 in 2 years. The quarterback, I don't know. Last year's had 6 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, and their best running back ran for 130 yards. They scored 20 a game, 109 rushing, 202 passing, and they passed for 30. They let up 32, so this is a terrible team, Vegas. All right, and now we get to the Pac-12. Now, here's where I disagree with the magazine. They have Caleb Williams from USC, number 1. I have Cameron Rising from Utah, much better than him. I have Thompson Robinson at UCLA, the 2nd, and Caleb Williams, the 3rd quarterback, maybe. Definitely Rising's better, and definitely Thompson Robinson's better than Caleb Williams just because he played for Oklahoma. They did lose to Baylor, so he's not all that. UCLA has a good running back in Charbonneau, used to be at Michigan. Utah's got a good running back. So that makes them really deadly and if we notice, extremely balanced right off the bat. You've got a great quarterback in Rising with a great running back in Thomas, and UCLA's got Thompson Robinson, and they got Charbonnet. So there's a 1-2 balance punch right there. USC, no running back at all. They've got a couple of receivers. We'll see. But that's your difference. I don't really see any good. Oregon's got a few defensive players. Nothing sticking out. What does Utah have? Utah's got 2 secondary first teamers and 1 defensive lineman, the other defensive lineman. So they're okay. They're not a great defense, which puts them at a grade over. All right. But my team to win there is Utah, and UCLA will fight it out, and whoever wins that side will win the conference. I do not, just because this guy at USC's there, he hasn't seen, probably Baylor's the closest he's seen to Utah, and Baylor beat him last year. His little system is bullshit. It's spread the offense and have a running deep quarterback. It doesn't work against good teams. That's why they never did anything in the playoffs. They would immediately blitz the quarterback because they said, this guy can't throw. All he wants to do is run the secondary deep so the quarterback can run because he's fast. And as you look at what's going on, Jalen Hurts, nothing in the pros. You've got Kyler Murray choked in the pro. I mean, he has a few good when he can run around. He's good running around, but once he gets injured, and then that's what's going to happen when you run. And I'm waiting for that to happen with Josh Allen this year. He's going to run and get hurt. I can't believe they run him as much as they do. They're out of their freaking minds, Buffalo. But that's what you have. So none of the Oklahoma, Mayfield was the best one. And he got booted out of Cleveland. But I still think Mayfield's okay because he can pass. He's a good passer. He's not a runner. So look at California. Good coach. Coach is I hate when they do this to me. They change the page. The coach, Justin Wilcox, very good coach. Balanced offense. They run for 164, pass for 220. Their defense, they give up 23. They're an under team. They score 23, give up 22. Chase Garbers is still there, or did he retire? Go pro. I am all screwed up on the page. Where's the returning guys? So I don't know if Chase Garbers. Oh, well, here. No, Chase Garbers is gone. So, Jack Plummer, the quarterback from Purdue. That's it. So they bring the quarterback who was the backup at Purdue and say, you're going to do much better here, even though at Purdue with Brom, the best coach for passing, you couldn't do anything with. You'll do good here. So he'll be okay. He's not brand new, but he's not great. Decent running. They're an under team and a good defensive team. And they open at UC Davis and then Vegas. So they should kill Vegas. Then they go to Notre Dame, and we'll see. But Notre Dame is going to get killed by Ohio State the first week. Oregon, balanced offense, new coach. Yeah, new coach, because the other one Cristobal went back to Miami, which scares the hell out of me that he's going to change my Van Dyke. They got Bo Nix from Auburn. I don't know. They scored 31, give up 27, which is funny because everybody says how good their defensive this Thibodeau was. Oh, he's great. He's great. The defense gave up 27 a game. How good? If you have Lawrence Taylor, believe me, the Giants didn't give up 20 points a game. You got a Lawrence Taylor. Here's Thibodeau. Oh, he's great. Fuck, they gave up 27 points a game. He's not that good. If he was good, they'd give up less, like I said, less than 20. So they did. They are balanced. They ran for 200, passed for 200. What do they get back? But Travis Dye, their runner, 1,200 yards is gone. Their second runner is gone, who was the quarterback who sucked, 18-7. The new quarterback, again, Bo Nix from Auburn, who I always thought was decent. We'll see how he is at Oregon. They open against Georgia. This is probably a lock under because this new coach is the defensive coordinator from Georgia. Now, to me, Kirby Smart and the Alabama coach, they're really the defensive coordinator. Like Belichick, he's really the defensive coordinator. So these other guys they call are really not why the team has a good one. Nick Saban. So Nick Saban's the defensive coordinator. So here you're hiring Dan. So Kirby Smart at Georgia it's his defense from Alabama. And here you have Dan Lanning, who's the defensive coordinator from Georgia, are you going to get into a New England Patriots? The assistants suck. It's all Belichick, which is it's all Brady. But you're giving the assistants head coaching jobs, and none of them do any good. So we'll see. And the same thing with Alabama. Their assistants don't do anything. This is the first guy that's Georgia, Kirby Smart, to actually do it. But you can see it wasn't his defense. It was all Saban's defense. But now he's bringing it to Georgia, and now Georgia's finally figuring it out. This guy was the defense. I don't expect Oregon to have this great defense. He's only got the players he had there. So I expect this to be a very low-scoring game. Oregon will not score in the game. And I don't think Georgia, since he knows the Georgia team being the defensive coach, will probably be able to stop him a little bit. Cook's gone from Georgia, who was as good as his brother, Delvin. So look for Georgia. They still have the tight end, the quarterback. They still have a lot of talent. And I'm sure they got some good freshmen in who go, oh, they won. I want to play for them because they won. And that's what I think you'll see here. But I think you'll see this as an under game. There's no way Oregon lights up Georgia. Nobody does that, including half the pros. Oregon State, my team. Why do I love them? 212 yards rushing, 216 yards passing. That's all I got to say. Balanced offense, good runner. B.J. Baylor ran for 1,300 yards. He's gone, but the next guy will come in and he'll get the carries. Fenwick, 440 yards. And Trey Lowe, 359. So they'll be fine. They'll give these running backs a little bit more. There's Martinez is a freshman they list. He's obviously very good. Jason Olin, I loved him. 19 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. A little too many interceptions. But where they got my attention, they started out losing to Purdue. They beat Hawaii. They go and kill USC 45-27. That's what opened my eyes. And Nolan had a huge day against USC. It was at USC. Then they go ahead and beat Washington 27-24. And then they get a little bit down and they lose to Washington State. And then they beat freaking Utah with Rising 42-34. That's what got my attention. Beating USC, Washington, and Utah. Then they go and they lose to Oregon, and then they lose to Utah State in the bowl game. I couldn't understand that. Baylor probably didn't play. I don't know. Who knows in these bowl games if you're getting the full team anymore, unless it's the playoffs. But that's what got it for me. See, that's what you're looking for, that critical win. They go to USC and win. They go to Utah and win with Rising. You beat Oklahoma. Baylor beat Oklahoma. That's the turnaround. Now Baylor's the head dog. Here you've got the Oklahoma's so embarrassed they're moving to the SEC to get beat by Alabama, Georgia, LSU every year. So Oregon State now got the win. They're a balanced offense. Look out for them. Their defense is good. They give up 25. They're a strong B team. They're a strong dog. They open with Boise. As I said, they're favored. Then they go to Fresno, which you got to be careful of. Then they got USC and Utah, who are going to be a little pissed off that they got beat last time. So we will see. But the Fresno State game is going to be tough for them with that offense. See, again, they're playing good teams. So where we want them is Colorado, California, Arizona State, Washington State. That's where we're going to look for Oregon State. And there'll be a live dog. USC and Utah, they're going to be high-scoring games. Oregon State can play with them. So last year, USC 45-27, they win. Utah 42-34, they win. Colorado, they lose 37-34 in overtime. 35 on Stanford, 29 on Oregon. They don't have a problem scoring keeping up with them. They're a very strong offense, and I love the quarterback, Nolan. And that's what happened. They weren't as strong in the beginning, and then Nolan took over. That's what Utah did with Rising. He wasn't there the first few games. Van Dyke at Miami wasn't there the first 3 games. Then they made the switch, and you're looking at the coach like, dude, you got Rising and Van Dyke on the bench. Do you not know how to spot talent? That's why I have the problem with the coach. They didn't play their best players. What are you doing? So Oregon State, again, love. Stanford, Z team. It was all Harbaugh. Shaw takes over. Pretty good the first 4 years with all the Harbaugh's guys, and then now this is the true coach. Scores 20 a game, gives up 32. A Z team. They don't run anymore. 86 yards. They pass for 215. Very weak defense. Z team. Their quarterback is returning, but he's not very good. This Tanner McGee, 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. This is where Davis Mills went, and I can't imagine. And he had the same crappy stats, so I can't imagine him in the pros being any good. So we'll bet against Houston a lot in the pros. Washington, new coach. This guy's from Fresno State as the defensive coordinator. A new quarterback, Michael Penix from Indiana, who I thought was good, who's not very good. They're an under team. He scored 21, gave up 22. They don't run very well, 100 yards a game, pass for 225. So this is a very weak offensive team and a very good defensive team normally. They open with Kent State. See, and then here's Kent State, then Portland State. Like, what the hell are they playing Portland State, a Division II? It's like the pros. The Green Bay is going to play. They're going to play Purdue this week. Like, no, play pro teams. They should not be playing Division II teams. So Portland State, what the hell is that all about? Anyway, Dylan Morris, quarterback, 14 touchdowns, 12 picks, terrible. Although Penix will be the quarterback, he had a terrible knee injury, so he's injured. We'll see how he plays. Look for them to be an under team and a good defensive team. The coach should be a good coach coming from Fresno. It's going to take him a few years. Washington State. New coach, basically. He was 3-3 last year. New quarterback. Was good in junior college. They're an E team or an over team. Not much running. Okay defense. They scored 27 a game, gave up only 24. So we'll see, but they're pretty explosive. Jake DeLaura transferred. And the new quarterback's Cameron Ward, this Division II guy. So we got to watch them the first 3 weeks. They're at Wisconsin. That'll tell us a lot if they can move on Wisconsin. Then we got Arizona, a Z team. See, this is the bitch in the conference. It's Arizona. They suck. No running. New coach. He's been there 1 year. He's 1-11. New quarterback. This is the Washington State guy went here. So we don't know. They scored 17 a game, gave up 31. All we know is they have a weak defense, which isn't going to get any better. So they're the Z team. Arizona State, third string quarterback, third string Florida quarterback. Oh, this guy's this is Jaden Daniels. This is the guy who's stuck at USC, got beaten up by Slovis, goes to Georgia, gets beaten out by their guy, and now he's going to Arizona State. Last year, 10-10 with Georgia, right? With freaking Georgia, who won the title. He's 10-10. Terrible quarterback. Decent running. They ran for 200, passed for 200 last year. And their defense was good, 20. They're actually a B team. They were actually 8-5. So Arizona State's not Arizona. They're not that bad. I don't like the quarterback. Herman Edwards, good coach. We'll see. The running back is gone, 1,000-yard running back, so we'll see. But they're going to be balanced, and they're going to play good defense. They open with Northern Arizona. At Oklahoma State, it's not going to be pretty. Oklahoma State will beat them. And I think the last team is another – well, no, we got to start. God, how many teams are there? I can't wait. I still got USC, UCLA, and Colorado. Good Lord. Utah, God, all the good teams. The Mountain West took a lot out of me. Colorado, W team, score 18, give up 26. Again, weak defense, probably a Z team. Balanced offense, but it's weak. returning quarterback, but he's average. No running back. A weak coach. Carl Durrell was a receiver at UCLA. Not a good coach. So I don't see much out of him. Weak offense. Brandon Lewis, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, little bit of running, ran 100 times for 200 yards, so he doesn't really run well. Their best runner was 600, so they don't have much of an offense. Kind of a weak defense. I don't see much from them. They got TCU at Air Force. We'll be betting Air Force. And the thing is with Air Force, you won't be laying a lot of points. You'll be laying 7 points. Colorado, we tease it to 1. It's an easy win. UCLA, there you go. A team, love them. Thompson, Robinson. How many last names do you need? 2,400 yards, 21 touches, 6 interceptions, ran 130 times for 600 yards and 9 more touchdowns. Zach Charbonneau, 1,100 yards and 13. They got all the offense they want, 36 a game, give up 26. They could tighten the defense. They play UCLA. It's a lock over as long as it's 70 or under. The lock goes if the line goes to 80. I can't bet it over, but this is looking to be the over. They'll kill Bowling Green, then they get Southdale. They'll kill Colorado. They'll kill Washington. Over against Utah, and we'll see what Oregon's all about. They'll kill Stanford. They'll beat Arizona State. They'll kill Arizona. Over with USC, and then at Cal, they'll beat them. So UCLA now, depending on the injury, because they got a good coach who likes to run it up. 36 points a game, and they got their quarterback back and their running back back, and they really haven't lost much. So this is a very strong UCLA, score a lot. Defense is a little weak, but that's okay with who they play. USC, forget the stats because the coach from Oklahoma, we know it's an over team. They're going to throw 1,000 times, so you forget that. We do look at the defense. They gave up 31 points a game, just like Oklahoma. So this is what you have to look at. Well, actually, here's the best way to do it. So let's go to Oklahoma. Texas. Okay. So we'll look at Oklahoma. They scored 39 a game, gave up 25. They ran for 187, which is mostly the quarterback. They had Kennedy Brooks rush for 1,200. And so they rushed for 187, threw for 260, but their defense gave up 25 a game. So that's what you have to look forward to. In the Nebraska game, 23-16, but that's when they still had Rattler. Then it was 55-48 against Texas. That's going to be USC, UCLA, right? 55-48. That's what we're looking at. 50 on TCU. They scored 31. They had trouble with Kansas. Texas Tech was a 70-point game. They lose to my Baylor team, 27-14. They barely beat Iowa State, who always has a good defense. And then they lose to Oak State. And then somehow they beat Oregon. Oh, I think their players didn't play. So that's what you have, is about a 25-point defense. Here it was 31. So let's say 28-29. It's an over team. Again, the first year, everybody's got to learn it. Now he's got good receivers, apparently. I don't know. And he doesn't have a running back. No. Now, Slovis had 11 touchdowns and 8 picks. This Dart had 9 and 5, and they both moved on. No, they didn't really. The runner had 900 yards. The big receiver moved on, Drake London. I don't know why everybody wanted him in the draft. So we'll see, but it's all a system. They'll score a lot of points. They'll give up a lot. As I say, they open with Rice. It'll be 42-0 at the half. They'll end up with about a 70-point game because he wants to say, I'm here, look at me. They'll keep scoring. They'll get the backup in the fourth quarter. So you're looking at, they're going to kill Rice. They'll probably kill Stanford and then Fresno State. And they're going to have all sorts of trouble with Fresno State. Fresno State will keep up with them. They got a better quarterback and a much better defense. So this will be an interesting game, week 3. And then you got Oregon State after that. So those 2 games, they're going to have big problems because these teams are very good against USC. Utah, my man Cameron Rising, 20 touchdowns and 5 picks, and he didn't play the whole year. Charlie Brewer was from Baylor, came, and this is my point. Brewer comes from Baylor, 48 out of 79, 3 touches, 3 interceptions, not looking good. So, wait, we got him from TCU. See, this is the problem with the portal. You get this guy, he's not – Rison's been in the system. They put him in 20-5. Why didn't you start Rison? You wouldn't have lost to BYU and San Diego State if you had Rison. For the Oregon State game, you'd have lost anyway. And then Ohio State, you couldn't handle them. But that's my point. So, Rising, top quarterback in the country, along with Van Dyke and Hayner for Fresno State. Those are. If I am an NFL team, if I'm Jacksonville, I'm drafting Rison and getting rid of Trevor Lawrence. This guy is 10 times better than Trevor Lawrence. So is Van Dyke. And this is the problem. They got Lawrence. They're going to have Lawrence for 5-10 years. The guy stinks. This guy is so much better, but you won't get rid of Lawrence for this guy. If I was Jacksonville, I'm running Jacksonville, I'd trade Lawrence to whoever. Detroit, not Cincinnati, but Cleveland, somebody in Pittsburgh. Here, I'll give you Trevor Lawrence. Give me your number 1 pick, and I draft Rising because I'm going to suck anyway. And now I got a superstar quarterback. That's what I need. That's what you should do is use Lawrence and then get rid of him, and then you got Rising. And this guy is the real deal. 20-5, and that was his first year. Now he's a junior, so now look for probably 35-3 would be my guess, because now he won't throw the interceptions. They score 36, give up 22. Balanced offense, 216 yards rushing, 214 yards passing. I love it. They give up 340. They give up 22 a game. They're an A team. Taylor Thomas, the running back, 204 attempts, 1,100 yards is huge, 5.4 average and 21 touchdowns. So when everybody's looking at Rising, they can run the ball inside the red zone, which is critical, which is why they average 36 points a game. You got a team that scores a lot. They've got to be able to run it in the red zone. You're not going to throw it in at the 10-yard line. It's not going to happen. Very good team. Receivers coming back are strong. They give up 22. So this is a top 5 balanced offense, A team. This is who you're looking for. And that is my Pac-10 analysis. So teams to watch for: Baylor, Oklahoma State. You've got your UCLA and Utah. See, USC is going to get all the pub, but UCLA and Utah are the studs of the conference. USC doesn't have the defense. And this is my point. That's why USC will lose. They get in against Utah. They'll get in against other defensive teams, maybe Washington or Oregon. So now look what Oregon's going to do. They bring in the defensive coordinator from Georgia. What do you think? They want to be the shutdown defensive team because they got all these high-scoring teams that they can't get a quarterback to compete with, right? Washington's never had a quarterback. Jake Locker sucked. Except for Warren Moon, they can't compete. So therefore, what do? They go and they're going to have to play and win with defense. This Thibodeau won't be anything because they still scored 20, gave up 26. Now, not this year, but probably next year, he'll start getting his players in. He'll put his system in. It always takes a while to learn the system. And then look out for Oregon. Oregon, they'll be much better running the Georgia defense, which we see is the best defense in 25 years, in college football. Very strong, handled Alabama easily, handled Florida, shut out Arkansas with a very good quarterback, very good team. Shut out all these teams last year, held them down, held Michigan, who was put up 45 on Iowa in the championship game. They got nothing against Georgia. So, yeah, if Oregon can get this Georgia defense going, then you just think of Oregon as Georgia. A decent offense, they can run, but their defense, you're not going to score. And that'll beat UCLA. That'll beat USC. Will it beat Utah? I don't know if Utah played Georgia, they would score on them, but I don't know. That would be a great game. But we saw what Ohio State did to Utah, and they lit them up, but Ohio State ran that offense. So Utah's defense isn't as strong as it used to be, but they got that balance. And UCLA, and that's what you're looking for. So here's your top 10. You got Georgia, LSU, Alabama, and then you got Baylor and Oklahoma State, and you got UCLA and Utah. You got Fresno State. You got Michigan and Ohio State. That's your top 10. And they don't want to put Fresno State and teams like that in it, but they're in it. They are strong teams. Cincinnati, we'll see how their quarterback has a great defense. Notre Dame, I got to see the coach. You got to prove it to me. We'll see what happens with them. And then there's sleepers as that Houston could be a very strong team. We know Army and the Air Force aren't going to be top 10, but we're going to bet them like they're top 10. We're going to get good lines on them. That's our money teams, Air Force, Army, Central Michigan with the good running. That's what you look for. That's what this whole analysis is about, to find what we're looking for and go with it. So anyway, let's review the baseball one more time. Atlanta over 9 in game 1 of the doubleheader. Baltimore over 8.5. Philadelphia, Houston over 8.5. We're locking Tampa Bay with McCullough against the Tigers. San Francisco is a regular. Boston over 9.5. St. Louis is over 8.5. Arizona and the Mets under 7 is the second lock. 2 locks, Tampa Bay straight, the Mets under, with Scherzer against Fried, the 2 aces going against each other. It'll be a 1-0 game, and we're under 7, so we love it. Once you get past that first and second inning and it's 0-0, you know you're gold, because the pitchers settle down and the hitters are scared out of their minds and can't hit. They're psyched out. And then, let's get them through 7. You get like a home run, and then that's it, 1-0. So that's baseball. Football, I just read you. I read you the Pac-10 and the Mountain West. Again, Fresno State, superstar. Betting against New Mexico. We like Air Force. Boise's okay, but not as strong. San Diego State defense. And then we got Utah, UCLA in the Pac-10. Washington won't be much. Oregon won't be much. Stanford stinks. Cal's okay. Just keep your eye on. Basically, we're just going to be pounding Utah and UCLA. USC's strictly an over. We'll bet them week 1 against Rice because they're going to make a statement so they can be ranked in the top 10, beating crappy Rice, 63-0, and they can say, look how good we are. And UCLA and Utah is going to be like, really? You think you can beat us with that defense? Okay, come on, bring it on. And they're all in the same conference, the South. So USC's got to play UCLA, and Utah's in it too. So there's no way USC is going to win that conference. They're not going to beat either of them. So that's really it. Questions, comments, please ask. That's why I do it live. I'm looking for this. Again, my email is hrobbins, ROBINS77 at gmail.com. HROBINS77 at gmail.com. Questions, comments, send them there. Again, if you were a customer last year, the full year I'm selling for $750, which is down. Just trying to give everybody a break with. If I'm teaching you Austrian economics, I got to give you a break in the football, and you'll get $100 off the full year package. So, last year was like $1,100. This year I'm down to $750. With so if you're a returning customer like Dennis and Nick, it's only $650 for them. So that's what you do. Go to the website www.teaserking.com. You get my email. And you can see my history, which is posted, and basically that's where you buy the picks. You get a password. Now it's on PayPal. Nick wanted to pay me in silver, which I would have accepted. You want to pay me in silver and gold, I'm more than happy to take it. And And then, but I only do PayPal. One of my friends asked me if I do Cash App. I'm leery about these Cash Apps. I'm leery about the whole internet. Everybody knows your business. So when it comes to cash, I do the PayPal on the system, but otherwise I'm just using my debit card through my bank. I don't really want to get involved with Cash App. But you should be able to use PayPal. You don't really, all you need is a credit card or a debit card. If you don't have one, we can work something out. But if you can use Cash App, I think you must be hooked into a bank anyway. So I don't know why you can't use PayPal. But if you need a way to pay me, I'm sure we can figure it out. Again, just email me on the site or that. And again, so it's $100 off, but only if you buy the whole year. So $750, you'll pay me $650 as long as you're a returning customer. $750 is a very fair price anyway. I'm selling the pros for the year is $600 and the college for the year is $600. So if you bought either one, that's $1,200. So I'm giving you a nice break to buy the whole year, and you get everything. You get all the locks, the pros and the college, through the Super Bowl, through the playoffs, every game that I post, and you can see all the histories there. So anyway, let me know if you have questions. I'll be back tomorrow to do the SEC and the Sun Belt. Buy your gold and silver. I showed you this video twice, once at the beginning, once in the middle, which says the banks are buying 100 million ounces of silver. They're taking delivery. So the SLV, the ETF is fake. So is the GLD, the gold ETF. There is no gold. You do not own an ounce of gold or silver. You're going to get screwed. You need to actually hold the physical gold and silver. That's why I run to the coin store and I have actual gold and silver coins, because that's your only salvation. And those are real assets. The paper stuff is not going to be good. The gold stocks, you don't own gold, you own the mine, but they will go through the roof, but when gold goes through the roof. So we got to wait a little on that. Right now they're going to go down because the recession's there. Of course, the recession, whenever you raise, now think about it, we're a store, and we want to sell my liquor. We want to sell my Canadian Club, and I worked there, and it was a great place, great whiskey. So we want to sell this. Now, so I sell it for $50 and I get 1,000 cases sold a year. And now I want to raise the price to 60. Do you think I'm still going to get 1,000 cases? No, I'm going to get maybe 800 cases. I'm going to lose cases because I can't raise price. If I raise price, I'm going to lose quantity. Now, the normal business, what they do is figure out what's called equilibrium. They go, well, I get 1,000 cases at 50. So that's $5,000, or is it $50,000? So if I raise it to 60, I'm going to lose sales, but am I going to still make $50,000? And if I do, then I'll raise the price, but I am going to lose quantity and cases are going to drop. If somebody raises, I go into my barbecue place and I tell the owner, and we talk gold and silver, and that's the place that'll take silver. And I've mentioned before, when I go there, I warn him, you cannot raise, you sell a slab of ribs for $21 is now $29 because your cost went up. I says, fine, you can pass that on, but don't think you can make it $40 for a slab. You will not have any customers buying your slab of ribs. So either you're fine with that or keep your price at $29, but you cannot think you're going to sell it for $40 and not lose customers. So then it's how many, I will not pay $40 for a slab of ribs. I'm telling you that right now. So if I'm not going to pay, and I love the slab of ribs there, they're very tasty, but I'm not going to do it. So I'm warning the guy that the market won't bear it. So of course, if costs go up and gas goes up and you're inflating the dollar, which means you're printing more, making them worth less, you've raised all the prices. Well, of course, the economy's going to slow down because I just explained when you raise prices, quantity drops. So if you raise whatever, if you lower the value of the dollar, you're in a sense raising prices. Well, of course, your quantity is going to drop because you have less money to buy it with, right? I only make $100. I can only buy $100 worth of goods and services. If you make it more expensive, so if I buy milk for $5, now it's $10, and I still need the milk. Well, that takes $5 out of my 100 that I would normally buy something else with it, I can't buy it. So something's going to not get bought. Well, of course, that's going to hurt the economy. And maybe I would have bought 2 gallons of milk, but I could only afford 1. So that's all that happens. So of course there's going to be a recession, which is why the market's going to crash. That's why I have a method to my madness for everything. When I say the market's going to crash, that's why costs go up. You want to buy a car stock now? You're out of your mind. Why would you buy a car stock now? Toyota raised prices on the Camry from 24 to 30 grand, and interest rate went up. So now it's going to cost me a shitload more to buy a car. I'm not going to buy one. I might get a used one. That's why they're up, but I'm not. Why would you buy stock in Ford, GM, Toyota right now? Sales are going to drop because of that. Now, a new car. Now, do I have to go there to buy a used car? No, I can go on Auto Trader and see Sam, neighbor, and say, oh, you're selling your car, I'll buy it. I don't need to go to Toyota to buy a marked up used car. So that's what you have. So of course, everything's going to slow. Of course, you see companies laying off workers. That's already starting. So that's what's happening in the world. So it's easy to understand. You raise interest rates, you raise costs go up, sales drop. It has to, because our paycheck's not going up. It's not like we're making, you raise interest. Okay, everything's more expensive. Well, I didn't get an increase in pay to cover the increase in gas. Plus, I want to buy gold and silver with my money. I don't really want to buy normal goods and services because I know they're going to the moon, because I can see the banks buying them and I see the dollar dropping. It takes more dollars to buy assets, which are gold and silver, once they're let loose at the market. But they're not at market, which is what I warned, but they're going to be at market very, very soon. That's why I tell you to buy it. It's protection. And your dollar is going to be worth nothing as they print more. So the interest rates going up are basically killing the economy. This is a disaster happening, but I'm telling you what's happening and why, and you know it, and you can prepare for it. So you try to buy food now, cheaper prices, and you try to buy gold and silver because you're going to wake up one day and you got $30,000 in the bank. You're going to go to the bank. You can't get it. And they're going to say, here's what they're going to say. You're not going to be able to get it. And they're going to say, oh, Mr. Jones, you're 30,000. It's only worth 10,000 now. You're going to what the fuck? No, that's what'll happen. Look at China. They don't even have, their banks aren't even open. You can't even go to the bank to get your money out. Forget we don't have it. You can't even go into the bank to get it. It happened in Canada. It happened in China. Believe me, it's going to happen here. It's just when. So don't leave a lot of money in the bank. I don't. I just get my paycheck and then I quickly buy gold and silver, pay my bills, leave a little bit in there, and that's it. But that's what you have to do. That's what's happening, and they won't tell you that. So again, I'm telling you that because you need to know, you need to understand how you're getting screwed. And that's why at least buy silver. It's cheap. You can get it $35 an ounce and buy as much as you can. Like 20 ounce, they sell them in the 20 ounce plastics. That's $700. There's no tax on it because you're buying money, and it's money, and you're paying for it with paper, monopoly money. So the money you're buying to go, so you're taking paper and buying money. And that's the whole ironic part about it, right? So you buy $700 worth of silver, or you buy $1,900 to buy an ounce of gold, and you're using bullshit paper. You're using toilet paper. You're using this to buy gold and silver. It's unbelievable, and it's so cheap. And they're doing it so the banks can buy, but we take advantage if we're smart enough. Most people are going, oh, I don't want to own gold and silver. It's not going anywhere. I want to be in Bitcoin because I don't know why, but I think it's cute. I don't know why anybody buys Bitcoin. It's not an asset. So right now, buy assets. Go buy Tom Brady cards. Go buy Mickey Mantle cards. Jordan, Magic Johnson, Mahomes. Buy freaking cards. They're assets. Buy assets. Paintings, diamonds, jewelry. Buy assets. And when you go buy gold jewelry, take a magnet. If it holds, it's fake. Only real gold does not attach to a magnet. So if you put the magnet to this, it'll fall off. Nothing will happen. If it's fake, it'll stick. So if you go to a jewelry store and he's selling you gold and you take a magnet and it sticks, you walk out because he's a fucking thief and he's trying to steal your money and it's not real gold that he's selling you. Only real gold will repel the magnet. Don't ever forget that. All right. Anything else anybody want? Please ask. I cover a vast array of topics. I just want to teach and help, and that's the whole point of this. It's not for football. We do charge for football, but that's my main thing. All the other stuff, it's just helping. So anyway, be careful. Just buy your gold and silver, and that's the best thing I can tell you. I hear people moving to Costa Rica and Portugal as safe havens to get out of the U.S. We'll see what happens, but it's getting really bad here. Too much political crap, too much social crap, too much inflation. So those apparently are the safe places, just FYI. All right, everybody, have a great day. Good luck on the baseball. Again, the lock, Tampa Bay, and Mets. We've covered the football. Tomorrow will be SEC and Sun Belt, and we'll get into the pros. We'll do our baseball, and off we go. All right, everybody. Thank you again. www.teaserking.com. Have a nice day.